just pop their dentures when Schiff finally gets censored. And so the House condemns the lies of the man with the zombie eye. It's voted on party lines of censure, and Adam Schiff promoted the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, which was as believable as Brian Kilmeade getting fan mail. 2 for 2. Schiff becomes only the 26th member ever to be censured, but to his credit, he's still the only member to have a 12-inch neck.
Adam Schiff stepped in with steady confidence, expecting a simple exchange built on familiar talking points, but Greg Gutfeld greeted him with a knowing grin that hinted he already understood how things would unfold. Schiff brought his usual polished lines and calm presence, while Gutfeld showed up with sharp humor and no interest in political theatrics, quickly slicing through every planned remark. The moment turned far tougher than Schiff anticipated as Gutfeld dismissed each attempt to rely on the script he'd depended on for years.
You really thought he had him? Well, we talked about who won the impeachment trial. Now let's talk about who didn't. As I said before, don't think the Dems aren't going to stop trying to find dirt on Trump. They'll look anywhere. Hell, they'll go to a local high school if they thought they'd find the goods there.
Gutfeld disregarded Schiff's rules, traditions, comfort zone, and long explanations with ease. Here, there was no disagreement. Schiff was steadily losing control on camera. He continued to regurgitate his typical words, but the audience didn't believe him. Gutfeld delivered a final, powerful strike that rendered Schiff immobile, demonstrating that he was obviously outmatched.
Unfortunately for Adam, not even Mitt Romney could help him. Everyone knew there weren't enough votes to convict. Even the media, their only way out of this hell, pretending that Mitt was a hero.
This was a profile of courage and that there's still room for mavericks here in Washington.
It felt historic indeed. It will cement Senator Romney's legacy.
Romney stood in the well and he seemed to be reaching for the ghost of John McCain.
The Mitt Romney decision is a fascinating one for this reason. He is now the president of the Republican resistance to Donald Trump. Yeah.
After decades in politics, he seemed unprepared and out of touch, as if he had entered a conflict that required sincere news releases. He came into the room as the main character, using elegant facial expressions and dramatic pauses. But the performance as a whole collapsed. It appeared uninteresting, predictable, and disconnected from reality.
In 2 weeks, they'll go back to hating you, trust me. And you'll have to find someone to commiserate with. Someone who understands rejection. Right, Adam?
And now Adam Schiff FaceTimes Joe Biden.
Hunter, is that you?
Adam Schiff.
Never heard of her. Look, I won't see the giant bag of rock salt at the Daytona 500. Wasn't even a problem.
500. That's a number, right?
Nothing happened if he used his usual strategy of feigning to have explosive knowledge. It was all built up with no conclusion. One more important promise that was never kept. He is now known for making unfulfilled promises. People are always waiting for something big to happen, but it never does, so each big discovery is more hollow than the last.
Being censored, which is basically an official serious scolding, is a punishment just below being expelled from Congress. But when Speaker McCarthy made the announcement, Democrats did what they do best, mindlessly screamed hysterical nonsense.
The resolution adopted. Without objection, the motion to consider is laid on the table. House will be in order.
The House will be in order.
I have all night.
I have all night.
The irritation only intensifies. People are beginning to wonder if any of it was ever genuine. Schiff's credibility has not only declined, but it has entirely disappeared. He's not telling the truth. He is promoting teasers for a non-existent event. His research reveals a similar tendency. After a dramatic and disappointing beginning, even some of his supporters admit that the spark faded years ago. Even though it's usually just a restatement of his earlier claims, Schiff still shows up in front of the camera and acts as though he has something important.
Full details about the conditionality of either the military aid or that meeting with the Ukraine president. It may not be necessary to take steps that might reveal the whistleblower's identity to do that.
Not necessary so much for transparency, but like everything, the Dems haven't thought this through.
Today, he seems weary of giving dire warnings. Then Gutfeld steps in, Sharp humor with no dramatic tone or cue cards that is ready to rip right through the show. If Schiff is still trying to be the serious investigator, Gutfeld is the one who exposes the whole conspiracy by not taking it seriously. The audience follows Gutfeld as he turns Schiff's attempt to incite dread into comedy.
For a party named after democracy itself, they do sure hate it when people vote on stuff. But he did have to go to the front of the chamber, known as the well. Think of it as like a walk of shame, and not the kind that he did this morning leaving Hammer's place. I only had one shoe. To discuss this further, we go to the man himself. And audience, no booing. We are a respectful show here. Please welcome Congressman Schiff. How are you?
Shame on you.
He just needed to be able to think clearly and recognize when something didn't add up. On stage, Schiff tried to keep up his serious manner, but Gutfeld broke it down joke by joke. Schiff's entire character is based on people's view of him as the serious adult in the room. But instead of nodding, the audience laughed, shattering that image. Schiff looked confused, as though he were in the middle of a disastrous performance.
It's looking bad when the Republicans took over, but it's far worse than we expected.
Cue the violins, people. But can he promise you this?
But I can promise you this. This is not the end of my fight for our democracy. This is just the beginning. Please, join us and contribute today. Thank you.
Here's my question. How much will it cost for you not to run?
In essence, Schiff provided the content himself. He jumped into his usual mid-sentence bravado in an attempt to speak with authority, but instead of demonstrating respect, the audience just laughed. In this case, Gutfeld works best. Ignoring the stiff, serious tone, he instantly makes things entertaining. Schiff entered with a ton of language, guarded words, and the same expression he's been using for years, whereas Gutfeld arrived with stinging remarks and total freedom.
And the fact that Schiff hasn't blinked since 1992. And he didn't take the news so well. The disgraced Democrat went on TikTok to complain. Behold.
Congressman Adam Schiff with some troubling news. Today, Kevin McCarthy removed me from the House Intelligence Committee, all for doing my job, for holding Trump accountable and standing up to the extreme MAGA Republicans.
Humor always beats long speeches, and when someone refuses to play fairly, they can't be outmatched. The instant the crowd started laughing, Schiff's polished image started cracking, even though he had no idea. He kept repeating his usual lines as if nothing had changed. His lengthy replies only made Gutfeld's jokes stand out more, turning the entire exchange into a televised meltdown. Schiff depended on maintaining a serious attitude, and once that slipped away, he was left looking like someone struggling to keep his footing. A major reason people have grown doubtful of him is the way his on-screen presence feels less and less believable.
And the irony is superb. He went crying to mommy on an app run by Chinese commies. Congressman Adam Schiff announced this morning he's running for U.S. Senate in California, which is guaranteed to boost U-Haul rentals headed for Texas. He unveiled a highly polished and produced political ad right on the heels of getting booted from the House Intel Committee.
Schiff appears to be confident that people would eventually learn to believe a message if it was repeated enough. But Gutfeld is an expert at breaking down repetition. He exposed the repeated claims, the inflated charges, and the historic events that never happened. Gutfeld's jokes made people aware of how often Schiff has promised important disclosures that never came to pass. Schiff thought he was still directing a serious political drama, even though the audience had long since moved on. He ended up stuck on stage, unaware that he was a part of a roast he had never planned to take part in.
Hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was exploding. We talked about that virus in green rooms, but we had to do this impeachment story. We had to show these hearings. It's all on him, man. He's got to go. They got to investigate him. They got to hold him accountable. I'm not going to say he should go to prison, but my evil twin will say he should go away to prison for a very long time.
He stepped in with the confidence of a seasoned official, yet the moment unfolded like the setup to a late-night punchline. Gutfeld didn't need long speeches or piles of evidence. He simply highlighted how empty Schiff's routine had become. It played out like a show that had already been canceled while Schiff believed he was delivering something important. Once a live moment unravels on TV, recovering is nearly impossible, and every serious pause he makes now reminds viewers of the night he turned into an online joke. His repeated vows of having proof, echo alongside every time that proof never appeared. His image wasn't just dented, it shattered instantly.
Schiff, because he created 3 years of a massive fallacy that did so much damage to this country and made us miss probably one of the most important stories of our lifetime. We were having hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was...
The memories of being humiliated so much still haunts him. It didn't feel like a discussion at all. It appeared to be a moment in which the outcome was obvious right away. In just a few minutes, Gutfeld used simple, clever humor to undermine Schiff's years of effort to portray an image of himself as the responsible adult in the room. Suddenly, Schiff's solemn expression seemed awkward and excessive. He appeared to be warning of possible dangers rather than being brave or astute. No one else could see.
Hearings, I have so much fun. I'm back, baby. Pretty soon I'll have my high-back chairman's chair again.
I don't understand. You're happy I didn't realize you were... don't you realize that you were censored by a majority in Congress?
Yes. Isn't it wonderful? I'm very pro-censorship. Censorship. Oh my, that's hard to say. The point is, the cameras are on me again, and this time I'm ready for my
severe warnings, a stern tone, and vague hints of hidden information. People no longer respond to that, though. Many politicians continue to use this tactic in the hopes that it will remain successful. Comedy, however, quickly cuts through it all. Gutfeld proved that with ease. In today's world, simple jokes have greater impact than staged indignation. Schiff became the perfect example of what happens when someone relies more on antiquated fear tactics than on real information. From being seen as a defender of democracy, he became a cautionary tale about how repeated drama falls apart the moment someone laughs at it in a heated debate.
This, even though I know it's not real, it bothers. Finally, Congressman, you're running for an open U.S. Senate seat in California. What's your message to voters who might be skeptical of your agenda?
I think you mean my agenda. That's how I say it now. I like the hard G, because that's what I'll do. Do you like impeachment? That's my agenda. Vote for me and I'll do an agenda. And I have one man to thank for all of this. The Orange Man himself. If you excuse me, I'm going to go celebrate with a glass of wine.
No amount of polished wording can undo what millions witnessed that night. Gutfeld's sharp humor easily outmatched every serious warning Schiff tried to deliver. Instead of leaving as a forceful public figure, he walked away as material for late-night jokes. Viewers were left with a moment they won't forget, one that showed just how quickly authority can crumble when the spotlight turns harsh. Schiff's legacy now stands as a quiet reminder. Once the moment is over, dramatic flair doesn't matter. Sometimes the truth and even a single joke can end a career faster than any major controversy.